Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Greg Wright. Two quick answers to your two very precise questions. If such a thing exists on the web, I'm not sure, but it really ought to. You're right, something that could easily and quickly demonstrate just how many close calls we've had regarding nuclear accidents and cheating and drug use and suspicious. Maybe I'll stop with that. I will say that my book talks a lot about all the close calls in order to try to make this macro thesis. And there's another, there's not timeline on the web, but there's another much more recent book by an author named Eric Schlosser, a much higher profile author than me. And it just came out about 6 months ago, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's exclusively about just how many close calls we've had in the 69-year history of the nuclear age in order to make the exact same case that we ain't going to make it another 69 years. Sorry, the second thing was just, oh, that's right, yes, about the, yeah. Well, you know, Greg, this is, thank you. You and Tom Camarella perhaps might want to arm wrestle a little bit about this because, as you well know, there's hardly unanimity about your thesis that wouldn't it be great if we dismantled nuclear weapons and then took those fissile materials and used them to generate even more nuclear electricity. And in some ways, I'm glad you asked it because before you asked it, I said to Tom here, reasonable people can differ on that question. But there's a real debate, isn't there, about whether that's so.
The energy that's contained in those.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I'm going to call myself an agnostic on the question, at least here and now today. But yeah, I mean, it is quite possible that a dramatic expansion of nuclear energy using the fuels that we get out of the dismantled nuclear weapons can't.
Not even expansion, just use it up. It's a way of containing the amount of nuclear power that's.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I very much take the point. But as you know, Greg, there are also a number of other people who say the risks of. A number of other people who would say, no, our objective with nuclear power ought to be to shut it down as rapidly as we can, as fast as we can, because the risks are too great. And again, I think reasonable people can differ on that question. No, the reason I'm hesitating is that let me answer that. Other than putting it into nuclear power plants like that, there ain't no good answers. You know, I cite something in here called the Model Nuclear Weapons Convention with this vast compendium of really detailed technical analyses. And I don't really want to go down this road. It's a very narrow question, but you know about the Yucca Mountain thing out in Nevada, and that has been put on hold indefinitely. The people who invented this stuff have left us with an almost insoluble problem. We have these nuclear fuels that are dangerous to human beings and most other forms of life for time frames that we have no idea of how to even think about, let alone deal with. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, in some cases millions of years, these things will continue to be dangerous. And I don't have the answer, and I'm afraid that so far nobody really has the answer. So let's move on, Danny, to another. Yes. Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
Question up in the front of the room.
She's a suspicious woman, but she's also my wife. Yes. It really, thank you, Kitty. It's a very good book by Eric Schlosser called Command and Control. We need lots of books like that about this.